Hello and welcome to Astro Insights Live. My name is Jennifer Rose and I am here with my beautiful wife, Mel Rose, astrologer Mel Rose, down there below me. Good morning and welcome. And happy Taurus season. I have several friends who are Taurus sun signs, naturally, because Venus is the ruler of Taurus, right, Mel? Is Venus the only ruler of Taurus? Oh, okay, say that again because I accidentally had your mic.
Yes, Venus is the only ruler of Taurus.
Okay, awesome. So
Yeah.
Venus also rules Libra. So of
Hmm.
course it stands to reason that I would have a lot of Taurus friends. So happy
Yes.
Taurus season
To all
and
you
happy
Venusians.
Sunday.
Yes.
And happy almost 420, which means it's 419. Yay. So, welcome. If this is your first time, thank you so much for dropping in. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. We are only 155 people away from having 1,000 subscribers, and we're giving away 15 total readings, 10 tarot readings, and 5 astrology readings once we hit 1,000. So, I will post some more information about that where you can just click to subscribe or what have you. But every Sunday at 10 a.m., Mel and I are right here talking about the astrology for next week. And if I'm honest, I haven't read about the astrology for next week. I have kind of glossed over it. So I will be paying attention for with Mel here to see what's going on for next week. And then, well, I'm going to turn it over to Mel, and she's going to do astrology today. So she talks about the astrology, and then I will come back, and Mel and I are going to talk about the astrological aspects of the week that get our attention, or that are our favorite, or what have you. And then we round everything out with the tarot card reading, which is around 30 or 45 minutes in, depending on how much I ramble. So thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you haven't, please subscribe. And now I'm going to turn everything over to Mel so she can discuss what in the hell is going on this week.
And that is not even to account for the rambling I'm going to do, friends, but I will do my best to stay on track. Happy 419, babies. Happy April. Happy Sun in Taurus. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Astro Insights. My name is Mel Rose. Today is Sunday, April 19, 2026. The sun is in Aries this morning at 29 degrees. That's the most powerful degree of Aries besides 0. So things might be very, very Aries today. We might find ourselves or other people acting a little extra self-centered. There are a lot of planets in Aries, with the sun being that part of our personality that faces the rest of the world. I just see a little bit of behavior that's a little more self-interested, which, can be done to excess, but also needs to be done. We have to act in our own self-interest most of the time. So this is the very end of Aries. It's a very Aries powerful kind of day, but the sun moves on tonight, close to 9 p.m. where I am in Central Standard Time, Kansas City, Missouri. It moves on into the land of Taurus. And so today the sun is exiting its exaltation in Aries and it's coming back to earth, so to speak. Happy birthday to all my Sun and Taurus friends and followers. Taurus is the sun. Sun and Taurus is the second of of 3 parts of spring. The middle, or the fixed part of springtime, the most springtime rich part of springtime. In the life around us and in our plans and aspirations, we see the new things we started begin to put down their roots and grow and mature. So the Sun in Taurus invites us to approach our lives as though every relationship and every exchange is an investment in our overall sense of safety and comfort, so that we can sink our roots into the soil of our lives. It's a very practical vibration. Think of it after all of the excitement and drive and initiative of the Sun in Aries, and lots of things still being in Aries, knowing that we still have so much work to do. Taurus season, the middle of the spring, is the time when we settle into a pace that allows us to produce what we produce in comfort and style. Do what you're going to do, make the progress that you mean to make, but make sure you're well supplied and you're taking care of yourself along the way. We want to show up, like not looking a hot mess. We want to show up looking like we took care of ourselves. The moon catches up to Gemini early Tuesday, closer to 11:30 my time. And I'm sorry, the moon catches up to Gemini early today, which is closer to 11:30 my time this morning, 11:30. Furthermore, it's a waxing crescent moon. We just had the new moon back on Friday, and now the moon slowly begins to reappear, first mostly in the daytime sky. So understand that the moon is increasing all week. And it's encouraging us to lay our plans and gather our assets and make moves on the next set of manageable goals that we have. And starting off like this in Gemini this morning through Tuesday morning, it feels like we're encouraged to express ourselves. Talk to your partners and your co conspirators. Share the ideas and information you have. We all get to have a greater impact when we work together. And that starts with sharing what we've got. The other big thing starting this week, starting off our week this week, is that Mars has come to meet up with Saturn in the sky. These are our two malefics, or our kind of hard news bears, standing together in the sky at the beginning of Aries, Mars's home sign, combined and under pressure. So it feels a little bit volatile to me. It feels very volatile, to be honest. So expect this week to be a little bit challenging. Even though the sun and the moon have moved on past Aries, we still have several planets in Aries all week, all answering to Mars, who is at home in Aries, ready to fight for whatever it is that we stand for. So while we may be looking to slow and steady our roll Taurus style, there's still a lot of relentlessness and impatience in the gas tank. So much relentlessness and impatience that my brain gets ahead of my mouth, and then I can't say the words I meant to say. Mars is in its rulership. Saturn is in its fall. Mars likes Saturn because, under the right circumstance, Saturn puts Mars to work, and that makes Mars feel useful and effective. But Saturn doesn't feel the same about Mars or about being in Aries. Mars and Aries both represent a blunt impulsiveness that often ignores the things that Saturn is concerned about, like taking our time, double checking the plan, making sure we have the materials that we need. So, if you are a naturally impulsive person, you may be running up against some practical limitations at this time. Like it or not, you have to manage these as part of making progress. And if you're a naturally cautious person, you may be struggling with a sense of urgency surrounding things you feel you need more time to develop or prepare. If you're feeling overwhelmed, either way, it's time to call in some assistance, okay? One thing at a time, friends. Call on your friends, call on your co-conspirators, call on a professional if you need to. One foot in front of the other. You can only do your best, and that's all we ask. These are the energies with which we start the week, coming back to earth, sharing with others about our plans and motivations, and full of energy for the work ahead, and walking that line between stability and practicality, and then impulsiveness to do things that we just want to do. Tomorrow is Monday the 20th. I'm asking you to let the practicality win. Tomorrow is Monday the 20th. Sun in Taurus, Moon still in Gemini, and Mercury comes to join Saturn and Mars at the beginning of Aries. So even bigger, friends. This is a triple conjunction involving two of our personal planets and our planet for rules and restrictions. In Aries, this feels very tense and tight and under pressure, and like something is rumbling. It feels like an earthquake or a volcano is starting to spew lava or something. Mercury is telling the tale. It's expressing the story of Mars in Aries, which is a warrior who is in command of themselves and with the strength of their own convictions, meeting up with Saturn in Aries. And that's a personage who has the power to enforce the law. And the message that's coming across: tell the truth and shame the devil. Even if your impulses and desires are pulling you in another direction, this is the time to act according to what's practical, what's lawful, and correct. This is the time to make your plans and your big ideas real by doing what you said you would do. For example, I said I was going to talk to the local realtor about my needs for my business goals, and this week is the time to do that. For example, Jennifer and I said that we would set up a 420 event tomorrow to read, set up at a 420 event tomorrow to read cards for people all day. And so, in that spirit, we spent this weekend preparing our vendor shop for setup tomorrow. So, if you know there's something you need to be taken care of, this is not the time to sit back. This is not the week to sit back and say it's going to work itself out or we'll do it when we get there. Spare yourself the extra work and frustration of Saturn laughing as you unpack boxes that don't even belong in your new office or whatever it is that you're starting again. Don't give yourself extra work to do down the road. Tuesday, when there's stuff you can take care of now. Tuesday is the 21st. Tuesday through Thursday, the moon is at home in Cancer, encouraging us to prioritize our bodies, our homes, and our closest relationships. While the moon is in Cancer this week, we are invited to nourish ourselves with fresh water, wholesome foods, and the rest and emotional comfort we mostly find at home. And then on Thursday, the 23rd, the moon moves on into Leo, and it's time to take a look around our private lives, especially our private lives, and pay attention to what we're supposed to be in charge of. So, already in our outer lives, we're paying attention to the things that we have to be responsible for and keep up with. And and now with the moon in Leo, we all have household chores that it's our job to manage or other personal commitments and objectives. Thursday through Saturday, we'll have good vibes for throwing a spotlight on which of those things need our attention. And also this Thursday, Venus meets up with Uranus at the end of Taurus before moving on into Gemini a couple hours later. This conjunction with Uranus, Venus and Uranus together combined under pressure at the end of Taurus, 29 degrees, this is going to put a bee in my bonnet about something unusual that I want or that I idealize. I promise you. Whatever it is that comes up, just make sure to make no final commitments before sleeping on it. Okay. Like really give it some time, especially if you have an unconventional idea or you come across some unconventional thing that you desire that you want to pull toward your life. Do the looking in, do the research, sleep on it, discuss it with your co-conspirators so that you know what you're getting into before you go ahead and call it in. Okay. Venus in Gemini is ruled by Mercury in Aries at this time, so it's impatient and assertive and desiring to have an impact. Remember what we just said about speaking what's true and based on proof. And in the case of Venus and Gemini, we may just want that two-factor authentication. Double check, make sure you ask for the item that you want, double check, make sure that you got, two pieces of information that say, yes, this thing is the thing that I'm looking for. On Saturday, the sun squares Pluto, and then Uranus moves on to Gemini for the final time. So let's take those one at a time. The sun at the beginning of Taurus is squaring off and having a negotiation of sorts with Pluto in Aquarius. The sun says, comfort, supply, progress. It's in Taurus. And Pluto says something like, yeah, but that's the old way that we used to do, and there's a new way of doing things coming up. So, as you are working out the practical logistics of your next moves, don't forget to check beyond the end of your nose, beyond what you have seen happen before in the past, and include any new and emergent technologies or philosophical upgrades that should be included for easy progress. Okay, again, make sure you're double checking, making sure you have all the information that you need before you go get that comfort, supply, and progress. Then Uranus moves on into Gemini, and we had a taste of this last year very briefly, and now Uranus is coming in for good for the next how many years? 6, 7? Uranus doesn't fully leave Gemini until 2033. where Uranus was in Taurus, shaking up the reliable availability of material resources, we witnessed a veritable revolution in the way we get the things we need and desire over the past 8 to 10 years, where one almost always went inside the grocery store before, or now one can just order up groceries online and pick them up at the store, or even have them delivered to your door. And that's just one example of the process of getting our hands on the things that we use, and that process having been upgraded, technologized, and flipped on its head. You can look around you to see all of the other ways that we've struggled with those constraints, even up to today, when we have this huge conflict about the Strait of Hormuz and about oil supplies getting through a specific, very narrow place in a passage in the waters. So it's interesting to see that Uranus is still throwing some like earth into the works, and gumming up our ability to allow supplies to pass through. And this seems to be like the big culmination point of it. I hope that this is the big culmination of point of it, and that when Uranus moves on into Gemini, we'll get a different idea and we'll do something better, right? So we can already see that a good deal of that is coming down the pike. That with Uranus and Gemini, what's going to shake, rattle, and roll, we can expect revolutions and epic upgrades in transportation and communication. We're going to find new ways of moving things around and new ways of letting people know what's going on. We can expect a great deal of folks subverting the traditional means of getting the word out. Expect that you will need to fact check much of what you see, for the information itself is going to be unreliable, and we're going to be getting one or two messages for a long time. I think we can already, or I should say two or three, multiple messages about the same thing for a long time. I think we can already see a good deal of that is coming toward us. And that's where I end today's astrology this week, friends. The high points of the week: today and tomorrow, Mars and Saturn and Mercury are conjunct, bringing us challenges under pressure and a need to get very seriously truthful and practical and cooperate with the plan. And then at the end of the week, Venus and Uranus move on into Gemini. And I think that's a good sign that Venus sort of introduces Uranus to Gemini like this. It shows best intentions and a desire for fairness and for us to work with our partners, even as that communication factor becomes a lot more complicated for us over the coming years. So there's the astrology for this week. Thank you for joining me today, friends, and thank you for checking in on your regular current astrology. We're gonna call Jennifer back in now and return to the partner screen here, so that we can discuss the astrology of the week and talk about what excites us about it, or how it feels to us this week. Jennifer, are you there, babe?
Here.
Yay! I love it that we're color coordinated. You're wearing green and I'm wearing green and you're wearing yellow. Very
Yes,
springtime.
I do like that. Hopefully my volume, I never know what to turn up on here.
I can
Everything
hear
just
you.
kind of changed today technologically for me. I was using one device, and then that didn't work, and I'm using this device and this works. And so hopefully you can hear me better than you have in the past weeks, but it seems like this is a very full week ahead. And uh, I don't know. I'm glad that you mentioned the Strait of Hormuz, because when you were talking about that, that's exactly, I was like, oh, there's the aspect. That's what we're going to have to watch. So, and it
Mhm.
made me think about the birth canal of goods, like that birth canal has slimmed. So, what happens sometimes when that occurs? Like an emergency surgery, somebody goes physically in there and pulls the baby out. Like, I don't understand. I don't know. I'm not a surgeon like that. However, I mean, just think about that versus, like what's going on in that strait. And then, like there's explosions, or, it's rigged some way in which we probably don't know about, or we do, and there's nothing we can do about. So I'm just wondering about really the flow of goods here. And I feel like I feel like they've already been backed up in a way that we're not aware of just yet because, as always, our warehouses are full. We always have
Mhm.
enough for 5 for us each to have 5 of the things that we want or something, like, I don't know. I'm just making that shit up, but still, it seems like we always have enough,
Yes.
and that is the idea behind it, and all the grocery stores will show us we always have enough, but if you're paying attention, have you looked at our vegetables in the grocery store? Like, for me, I'm buying, like, they want me to buy a bag of vegetables that are already bad, that should be thrown out, and they're just reducing them, reducing them, reducing them, and it's not even a product that anybody's gonna buy. I assure you when I go to the grocery store today, I'm gonna see that same bag of lettuce that I've seen since January. I've been watching this one bag of lettuce since January. And why aren't they moving it? Because they want you to see that they have more supplies, because they really don't have a lot of it. And so I feel like we're gonna see a little bit of that happening, and it's just gonna continue to. And then you said something about revolution, and, I mean, like, our history is about the T and a C,
Tea in
and
the
here we
sea.
are in the Cs, there's a straight. All the straights are fighting, and the gays are just here being cool doing crime, I guess. I don't know, but the straights are in Hormuz. Bye. I hope that Hormuz is a very happy, lovely place where you have everything that you need. But yeah, I feel like the supply and demand of life is going to be in focus this week. And I don't remember the astrology for that. Is that the Uranus?
Yeah, Venus and Uranus go conjunct at the end of Taurus, which is like the constipation point, right? And then Venus moves into Gemini, and then Uranus moves into Gemini, where it's going to stay for another 6 or 7 years. So, uh, yeah, that's kind of like something gets expressed for sure, and I
Mhm.
think it's like a double whammy of some kind, you know?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think repurposing things right now should really be what people study, and how we can really repurpose everything because,
Use it
um,
up, wear it out, make it do or do without.
yes, exactly what you said. So I'm I'm looking into that astrology for this week, basically to see about the goods and services, and I'm also still feeling this Aries out, Taurus in. So I feel like I don't know. I feel like what's happening here is kind of like after our dog goes to the bathroom, we have a little Chihuahua mix, and she goes to the bathroom and she'll do her paws, like she'll
Oh, yeah,
at the
she kicks
grass.
back.
That's how
Yeah.
I feel like Aries is going out into Taurus. Like, here's some grass, you filthy animal. Like, I did what I needed to do here. Like, here, here's your okay to go on. I
Yep.
don't know. It just feels like Aries, like, well, here you go. Here's some grass and earth for you. I dug it up. I did the work. Now what are you gonna do?
Uh-huh.
So I feel that shift into Taurus, and I feel like Taurus is a pretty serious vibe. I know Taurus can make you wait. Like, a Taurus can fucking make you wait. And I thought I made people wait. No, babies, nah, son. You ain't got nothing on a Taurus. And I mean, even a Taurus that doesn't have to get made up, just a Taurus have to go. Okay, give me 3 hours.
Mhm.
No, I'm ready now. Oh, okay, I'll be ready in 3 hours. 2 hours and 55 minutes. That's all I got. And it's and some and I call bullshit, like, people will say that's boundaries, but there's a good balance between boundaries, and so three
It always
hours,
remi
1.5 hours.
it always reminds me of that skit from Portlandia where she cacaos the guy right out of the house. Like, it's the safe word skit, he gives her a safe word or they agree on a safe word, and now she can say no to everything just by using the safe word, and by the end of the skit, he's, like, gone.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I can see that my My stuff is blipping, so hopefully y'all can hear me okay. This was not the device I wanted to use, so bear with me. So what say you about the astrology aspects?
I mean, it just feels a little bit crappy, to be honest. It just feels a little bit hard this week. I mean, today feels really positive to me because we've got the sun moving on into Taurus and the moon into Gemini. And I think Taurus and Gemini make good buddies, like,
Mhm,
Taurus loves good company. And so does and Gemini likes nice things. So, they kind of work well together.
mhm,
But, that Mars conjuncting Saturn, conjuncting Mercury today and tomorrow, this is going to have an impact on our week. Mercury will move on first and it will be out of there very quickly. Mars will move on more slowly and it will take a few days for it to get out of orb with Saturn. So really, this is about, like, when you have two things that you want to do, you got to take the road most traveled by. You got to do the practical thing. You got to do the efficient thing. You got to do the thing that leads to more structural wholeness in your life. Um, and it might not be fun, it might not be easy. Saturn likes to be like, oh yeah, you have to pay a fine for that, or oh yeah, you have to wait 2 weeks for that, or oh yeah, you're gonna have to put in some time and effort, you're gonna actually have to labor for that one if you really want it. That's the Saturn and Mars thing. And like I said, Mars gets along okay with Saturn as long as Saturn isn't being too stern, because Mars doesn't mind being put to work and given things to do. Mars is a doer.
mhm,
But Saturn doesn't really care for Mars because Mars is impulsive and will take things on their own, especially in Aries. Mars will just say, I think that I feel like doing it this way today. you know and with the power of their convictions that they are completely right, they're just going to do that. So it's up to Saturn to help Mars stick with the plan without becoming overbearing in a way that makes Mars act out. And I'm not talking about people here, but I am, you know um
mhm,
I'm talking about parts of ourselves. I'm talking about characters of our own psyche. There's the part of us that is the doer. There is the part of us that is impulsive and fiery and just wants to take care of business. And then there's a part of us that knows what the business is and has the plan at heart and knows what the practical steps are. And one has to listen to the other. Yeah. And that's really going to be this week.
mhm. Yeah, I can already see in a lot of spaces and the things that I'm working on where all that is reality for me. I'm already kind of a step ahead. As a matter of
Hmm.
fact, I was working on some things and just paused and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick this back up Monday because this is just feels like the week to just kind of I not really take the first step, but realize like excuse me, after that Aries first step, after that full first step, where it is that your foot lands, like, so where it is, what's the pile that you just stepped in?
What
Like
ground are
you
you
realize,
standing on? What's it
this is
made
where I
of?
landed in,
Yeah.
and it's time that I gotta take care of this, where
Yeah.
it's a little messy. I feel like for me, it's a little messy. It can look messy. I think a
Hmm.
lot of it is a lot messier than it looks. I think that
Hmm.
this is going to try our patience and our kindness and our grace that
Yeah.
we give ourselves and others. And I think, like if we can get through this in a way that we don't tear ourselves down and other people down and we don't lose sleep over, I'm
Hmm.
still getting the everything everywhere all at once vibes, like her with the IRS person and
Hmm.
like not not asking for help or assistance, like just it's just gonna be one of those things I'm having to face. And personally I'm having to face things where I'm looking in the mirror at my it's still, these things just go deep. We've been talking about looking at our habits for I don't know, all the time, it seems like. But those things go super, super deep and they're ancestral even. Like Mel was talking about, Mel is working in the yard and like I also witnessed her sister working in her yard a lot. And I feel like it's
Hmm.
from their people. I feel like when she's out there, like to me, there's like some kind of a boundary for me because I don't believe that my people worked in the ground like that. That's not what I'm drawn to. And so she's out there, and I feel like that she really gets some wisdom there, or she, just feels at home there, and just kind of let her be. And so I think that a lot of us have been just kind of sitting with a lot of things, and now we just know that this is the time and place to handle it. And I don't want to face Saturn Daddy face to face. I'm not doing Saturn. No.
Yeah. And here's a reminder to everybody, like Saturn is in everybody's chart. Saturn ruled signs are in everybody's chart. We all have parts of us that are that sort of stern taskmaster, that sort of hard ass, that sort of person who gives too little compassion and asks too much labor. There's a part of us, of each and every one of us. There are parts of each and every one of us who have that. And the important thing to remember is, you can do it the right amount, or you can do it to excess, or you can do it not at all.
Right.
So, like there's this middle path, like there's doing too much, and then there's doing too little. And we've got to really find that middle path. That's where the practicality is. That's where the easy walking is, if we're talking about walking a path.
I agree. I don't have much else to say about that. I'll just kind of ramble about current things and stuff that we haven't tipped or talked about. So I'm still
I
about the
definitely agree
straits
with you,
going
though.
to Hormuz. Where's
Yeah.
Hormuz, and how do I get there?
Yeah, somewhere near Iran, I guess. But yeah, like really keep your eyes on that piece of news right now, and any other piece of news where it looks like, things are being held up, or something is being made available.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot going on there that we don't know, and that
Mhm.
we'll never know. But I think we're gonna find out next week.
Yeah. I just had this thought that it might be a good idea this week to try to identify what my carrot is and what my stick is, because this is my Saturn.
So what your
you know
what is? I'm sorry.
my carrot and my stick, like,
Oh,
you know what I do to what do I do to
motivate you.
tempt myself forward, and then what do I do to push myself forward.
Gotcha. Thank
that
you.
that that Dochi song came to my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Um, okay. I am already just ready for the tarot portion of this
I think it's a good time to start tarot. What do we want to?
situation. So,
Yeah.
cards for the week.
Where to go hard and where to take it easy.
Well, we need some temperance. Justice is in the house. Okay. So, yes, where to go hard and where to go easy. It's funny. I've been reading a bunch of articles today about justice and or injustice, and people calling for justice in certain situations. And it really is about, the systems that are being unjust, covering up. I was reading about the cover ups of some deaths in the immigration camps that we're keeping, and how they're managing to kind of sweep it under the rug, and not bring it out. And I think, slowly releasing things. Okay. So if you're working on something, slowly releasing, slowly getting things done. I think we're slowly going to receive information that's going to give us a little bit more, what is it? A little bit more carrot to get us through the week. Okay. And justice loves carrots. Like, how many carrots can we get in this diamond, baby? It's Taurus season. Like, how many carrots in a diamond? If there's just one, but we need more. Um, but I mean, that's not temperance. But I mean, we're in that season, though. Like Taurus is really great about a grounding and being a grounding principle, but they can also really, when they get imbalanced, they get really imbalanced. It's,
Mhm,
an obsessive imbalance too. It's a very stern, stubborn, bullish, imbalance. So,
mhm.
just let's start it off by having a little bit of temperance and, also just giving ourselves grace. To me, Justice card is also grace. I
Yeah.
don't know. But what say you, Mel? I'm just doing general.
Yeah, the justice card, like justice is on all of our minds, I think, in one way or another these
Mhm.
days. If you are, especially if you're a person of the world, but especially if you are a United States American or a Western Hemisphere American, because we're all Americans, justice is on your mind because it's out of whack right now. So, hopefully things are, I don't see things coming like directly back into balance. I think that things are going to start changing, though. We're going to start seeing the way justice is applied changing with Uranus and Gemini. And we watched that interesting movie last night about a guy that went to trial for killing his wife. And it was like an AI trial where if you don't prove that you're innocent, then they just take you. Uh, so
Yeah, like
it's going to be
execute.
that's just like that it really showed about like the proliferation of technology, though, and the way you can put together people's stories online to create a narrative,
Mhm.
whether it's true or false. And so double checking the information is so important. And when I see that justice card, what I see is that sword and that scale. They both have two sides. Okay, that sort of
Mhm.
truth cuts both ways. It can hurt you and it can
Mhm.
deliver you to the truth. So, uh, yeah, you gotta take the good with the bad.
Yeah, we gotta take the good with the bad, and we just have to remember, when we're doing stuff, like when Mel's outside for 4 hours in the heat and everything, that at least at hour 2, make sure there's water or, like or something, you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
the moon movements this week are, asking us. I even heard another astrologer drink water. Like, this week is
Mhm.
really about taking care of yourself on the really basic levels, and drinking
Yeah.
water is one of those ways. Okay, the next card. Page of Pentacles. I like that.
I
It
like that
matches
too.
me.
Planting
So,
seeds this week. A lot of people are planting seeds this week.
yeah,
Sun's
there are a
going
lot
into
of people
Taurus. We
planting
had the
seeds
new
this
moon in
week.
Aries. This is a time when people plant seeds. And
Mhm,
Mother's Day is not too far out. In the Midwest, it's not usually considered safe to plant anything or leave anything outside until Mother's Day, because that's when you're definitely past a freeze, or almost definitely past a freeze, here in the Midwest. But uh, the Page of Pentacles is just like, here we are at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of everything, friends. Really, we have this brand new, shiny Aries vibration that we are enveloped in, and that we are holding in our hands, and we want to, like, what am I going to do with all these bright ideas? What am I going to do with all of this energy and all this power and all these resources? And it's very exciting. It's a very exciting time, and it's just important to remember, like, none of us gets everything done on our own. We do have to let other people in on our plans. We do have to collaborate to make bigger things happen. We do have to attend to the plans that we started with. We have to plant them and make sure they get the soil and the water, the nutrients, the sunshine that they need. Okay. So it's not just a plan, and not just an idea. It's not just about having an idea. It's about, like, actually making the idea real.
yes, I agree with that. And what starting the week off just thinking about, the pentacles, about our health, wealth, and finances. Starting your week off knowing how much money is in your bank. Like, starting off the week knowing, just kind of getting your life together. To me, I'm looking at that going, "Oh, we juggling this coin now, are we? Okay, that's what we doing now." Like,
Take an account to what you've got before you step out.
yeah, for sure, for sure. But when I just kind of I ask what I do when I'm reading tarot cards, and Mel and I do a dual tarot reading actually that you can book with us. We talk we It's on Mars Venus. And something that I do during the tarot reading, Mel usually leads with a nice tarot spread, and then I chime in. But what I do is I just ask several questions of my cards while, like while Mel was talking about the Page of Pentacles, because the Page of Pentacles for me is a card that moves forward. That card is literally just kind of ready to go. So, when I ask where the Page of Pentacles is going, it continues to say, down a path of Pentacles. Actually, so yes, you're on the right path if what you're thinking about is yourself and your current situation, and this week is begging you to take care of those extremely important situations, especially the ones that will have you standing in front of a judge of some sort, okay? Um, Even if you have to stand in front of the judge of some sort, now is the time to do it. Now is the time to humble yourself enough, not all the way, but enough to face that and to deal with that now, okay? And the Page of Pentacles says, yep, this is what it's about. This is about getting our money together. This is about getting our lives and our schedules together. As the spring and the summer comes in, we're making plans, we're, planning trips, we're inviting people over. So it is really important right now that you take care of yourself while you're doing all those plans, okay, and making all those plans. And that means your house, like I've been doing dishes every day because I know that it helps me eat at home rather than go out to eat. Those little bitty things that you can do for yourself that take just a few minutes to do, that's what the Page of Pentacle does. Like here's how we can roll this along. Here's how we can push the penny. Here's how we can push this. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I guess I had a lot more say about the Page of Pentacles than I thought I did. Yeah.
I'm glad you did.
Do you have anything more to say about the page or?
No, I think, friends, this week, easy does it. Slow down and follow through.
Mhm,
Don't let yourself get in a hurry. I
mhm.
think at the end of the week, we'll be really feeling that vibration of like, I really don't want to hurry. I really don't want to push. So you might start out the week feeling like things are piling up and there's a lot of pressure. But by the end of the week, I think that we can sort of realize what it is that I can handle and what I can't do anything about at this time, and start just managing the things that we can handle, you know, and delegating or rescheduling the things that we can't at this time.
Right. And call in your favors, those people that you have supported in some way, and they said just kind of slyly to you, like, hey, just FYI, I know that you don't want to pay this back, but I have this skill or I have this thing, and think about, all of I don't know why I'm thinking this, but what the leverage, like think of the tools that you need. I'm thinking magician card big time. Like
Mhm.
think of the tools that are out there and that you have that you can employ before you get to, like the pickaxe. Can you do it with a spoon? Can you do it before we get to the hydraulics here? Like remember
Right.
to call in those favors that you've sent out. Okay, because I think people really like to repay a favor, like
Mhm.
even if they can't, like seriously, even if it's not financial, people like to repay their debts in
Mhm.
whatever way. And I think that we need to cleverly figure out how it is that we're, like first of all, what debt means,
Mhm.
and then just kind of figure out how to just be a little bit more graceful about it with
A-
ourselves and
And along those lines, you inspired me also to think of like when we're trying to solve problems or fix things. I went straight to the printer from that movie, Office Space. Is it Office
uh-huh.
Space? Like the Aries style, and it's very Aries heavy weather right now. Okay. The Aries style is to fix the printer with a boot and a hammer and a flamethrower. Seriously, okay? But
That's a Leo thing
that's not
to
what we want to do if it's something we want to actually work for us. If we want to actually get the printer to work for us, we have to try other means first. We have to go in with a little more gentle touch and a little more maybe call in a professional, somebody who knows these things a little bit better, and do what's practical to make the printer work, rather than just smashing it to bits in a field and cussing it out.
I think you probably picked up on the fact that I was actually just thinking about what I'm doing next, and I was like, "Do I plug in this printer and print out this advertising for our gig tomorrow, 420, or not?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, you've got to do the barcode." So I'm thinking about a printer, and I'm like, "Do I even mess with it? Do I even have the wherewithal to mess with it?"
We might have to mess
And
with it with a hammer later on, is what she's saying.
yeah, no. So I live with 3 fire signs, and I know for a fact, and previous dealings, I know for a fact that they'll pick up a hammer. It will be like just like press a button, and somebody will be like wailing on it, and I'll just go up and be like, "Hey, you just do it like this." And I feel like such a butthole, like when I do it. I feel like such an ass, like a, elitist here. But I'm like, "Hey, you can just go ding." And they're like, "Oh." I just grab the hammer and try to hide it because next time, there's a bug on the like,
That's
I don't know.
that's a real story,
But
friends. That's real stuff.
specifically, I know Leos to be that
Mhm.
fiery about things. Uh, a lot of experience with Leos just being like, yeah, I know it's glass. I need it to move. I need to open. I need the window open. So now the window is open. Like, yeah, it was just locked though. Just ding. Meow. So think before you hammer.
Yes.
Or look before you hammer. And don't hammer. So there's your advice from Rose Trone Astrology. Thank you so much for joining Astro Insights Live. Um, I'm really grateful for the sunshine that we're having today, and I hope that you're able to find the sunshine in your life, even if it is, physically raining outside. Try to
Mhm.
find what bright spot, first of all, that you got out of bed and a million things went right for you. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Um, and if you haven't already, there's another bright spot in your life. Every Sunday at 10 a.m., we're here, and you will be notified if you subscribe, and you will not miss us. And if you're local to Kansas City, we will be live from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah.
tomorrow at Relief Resources in Grandview, Missouri, doing $20
Don't
tarot
wait till
reading.
10 PM to come out and see us, folks. We might not be there that late, but we will be there
Yeah,
all day tomorrow.
yeah, but somebody will be there until 10 p.m. But we're going to be there from 8 a.m. until,
Yeah.
probably at least until 5. But well, there's
We'll
going to
see
be
how
great things
Lily Dog
happening
is
out
doing.
there. We'll have
Yeah.
little we'll have little Lily, and if she's feeling in the mood for love, we'll let you pet her for
Yeah.
free. So come see us and subscribe. We are 155 subscribers away from 1,000, and we are giving away some readings. So please do that and join us again next week at 10 a.m. Thank you so much to my wife above me, Mel Rose, astrologer extraordinaire. And we will see you again next week.
Much love, everyone. Take good care of yourselves.